How did a law student allegedly use food, charm, and deception to hide a trail of bodies over the course of 2025? And does Brazil have a female serial killer on their hands? Let's find out. Welcome everybody to 5 Seconds to Sundown. I'm your host Gemma. This is a relatively new channel, and if you've come over from my old channel, I think my fridge is haunted. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're new here, this is where I talk about all things weird and interesting, including some of my favorite subjects such as crime and justice, dark history, and the occasional ghost story. Feel free also to join me on Instagram, where the handle is 5 Seconds to Sundown. If you have any weird stories that you've come across, please feel free to send me to them by DM over there. So today we're unpacking a case that shocked Brazil and even made its way into international headlines. It's the investigation into Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes. She's a law student, a mum, and the woman police have described as the alleged mastermind behind a string of poisonings between January and May of 2025. So this is a really recent case. It's all coming to light now. It's also an ongoing criminal investigation. Many of the details that we're talking about today are drawn from Brazilian press and international reporting. Prosecutors have filed indictments and police have made public allegations, but at the time of writing this script, this case remains before the courts. So we really don't have any definitive facts. We're purely just speculating of what we've read in the media at this point. It's also very important for me to point out that this story comes with trigger warnings, including mentions of poisoning, animal cruelty, and murder. So who is Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes? To look at her, you'd think she doesn't really look like a criminal, or not at least the type of criminal that we're used to seeing. Well, according to reports in the media, Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes is a 36-year-old woman who studied law and lived in the São Paulo metropolitan area. Brazilian authorities moved to detain her after investigators say that they found a pattern linking multiple deaths to people who had been within her recent orbit. Local reporting describes her as having cultivated social connections, from rental arrangements to online dating sites, that placed her close to potential victims. Now, true crime aficionados have heard about this type of predatory behaviour before, in cases such as David Pierce. He was recently sentenced to 146 years in prison. But Anna's alleged crimes were quite different. Because after she was detained, police and the public prosecutor's office filed formal charges accusing her of multiple homicides and associated crimes. Right from the start of this case, we're looking at two recurring themes. First is the alleged use of poison as a method of murder. And second, alleged efforts to manipulate evidence or blame others. Police think they've found a pattern because the crimes share a modus operandi. They say that Ana Paula prepared foods or drinks that contained toxic substances and then served them to victims in social situations, then claimed to be an innocent bystander when the victims became ill or died. And where have we heard this before? This case reminds me a whole lot of the Jollyama Joseph case in India. Jolly Joseph allegedly killed 6 members of her family and friend circle with cyanide-laced food and drinks between 2002 and 2016. That trial is still ongoing, but there are many parallels between that case and this one. But back to Ana Paula. Prosecutors allege that she had some level of technical knowledge of dosages and timing that allowed a death to appear like a natural death or an accidental overdose. And what this did was it reduced immediate suspicion towards her. Now, the darkest allegation in the reporting is that Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes tested the toxins on animals first. And as a dog lover, this upsets me. Investigators allege that she killed up to, I've read 10 dogs, I've read 13 dogs with doses of these toxins. And they say she wanted to make sure that the outcomes would be what she intended, which would be to kill the victim. Because those are serious claims, they're still subject to forensic verification and, of course, the legal process. That's going to include toxicology and forensic reports. Those are still ongoing. So let's look at the timeline of events within this case. We'll go back to January 31st, 2025. Police allege that Marcelo Hari Fonseca, who owned a property in Guarulhos, where Ana Paula and her twin sister Roberta were reportedly renting, died after being poisoned and stabbed around January 31st of 2025, just 4 days after the women and Anna's son moved in. Now, Marcelo's body was later found in an advanced state of decomposition. So not discarded elsewhere, not taken to a field or a forest, he was found within his home. According to The Sun, quote, police say the 36-year-old woman told investigators she had stabbed him under his right armpit as he sat on the couch in January. She allegedly told police that she had concealed the entrance to the room with a sheet to stop her young son and sister from seeing the body. Fernandes said she only called police 5 days later, after her son complained of the smell, as well as noticing maggots crawling around the home. Police have alleged she later burned the sofa where Marcelo had been stabbed to, quote, remove odours and, quote, clean the room. At the time, charges were not laid due to lack of evidence, but investigators later reopened this death inquiry at the insistence of Marcelo's daughter after new leads surfaced and linked his death to Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes. Police reports quoted by the press indicate Ana Paula told investigators the killing followed an argument within the home. After just 4 days of living there, that must have been some argument. But let's move forward to April 2025. And we'll talk about the next victim, Maria Aparecida Rodriguez. Police allege that on April 11th, 2025, Maria Aparecida Rodriguez fell ill after consuming cake and coffee at Ana Paula's home and later died. It's not clear if this is the same home where Marcelo died or a different location altogether. But prosecutors say Ana Paula used a forged note and a poisoned cake to defer any attention away from her and to incriminate Maria's ex-boyfriend, who was apparently a military police officer. And this is weird. Maria's daughter said that Maria and Anna had met via a dating app. So it appears that we could be looking at a crime that uses a dating app to lure a person into a private residence before a crime takes place. Maria's death prompted an exhumation and renewed forensic testing, and you know things are bad when bodies are getting exhumed. Just 2 weeks later, though, on April 26, 2025, investigators allege that Ana Paula travelled to Duque de Caxias. I am so sorry, Brazil. And it was there that she prepared a traditional Brazilian stew called feijoada. Feijoada. I looked up some recipes. It looks fabulous. It's like a casserole that you have with vegetables or rice or potatoes. It's like a thick, stewy casserole. Anyway, this stew caused the death of a man named Neil Correa da Silva, who was aged 65. And I don't know what the correlation between Ana Paula and Neil was. I don't know what their relationship was. But listen to this, because this is interesting. Prosecutors say the killing was commissioned by Neil's daughter, and Neil's daughter's name was Michelle Paiva da Silva. She allegedly paid Ana Paula 4,000 Brazilian reals, which is about 735 American dollars, to carry out the murder. Now, Michelle was also arrested on suspicion of complicity on that matter. It turns out that Anna and Michelle knew each other from studying law together, but the alleged transaction led police to believe that the motive here was financial. And it could be financial for all 3 murders. We don't really know yet. All of that is going to come out at trial, I hope. In May 2025, reports identify the last victim, and his name is Hader Mazarez. He's a 21-year-old Tunisian man. He was apparently in a relationship with Ana Paula. Investigators say that after a dispute and the man's intention to end the relationship, Ana Paula served him a milkshake that contained a toxic agent. Hader fell ill and later died. Ana reported his death and said that he just felt sick and passed away. But prosecutors alleged that the motive for killing Hader included jealousy and financial interest. The press reports that Ana Paula allegedly even faked a pregnancy to keep Hader with her, but he still wanted to leave, which potentially shows some intent on her part. Maybe she was angry, she was jealous. Now, I read this on a website called National World, which should be taken with a grain of salt, since they also said this, quote, accused Ana Paula Veloso Fernandes, 36, allegedly poisoned 4 people with the help of her twin sister, Roberta Cristina Veloso Fernandes, 35. So apparently the twins are a year apart. I don't know how that works. Let's go forward to June 2025. Police began noticing similarities in these 4 deaths. The victims had been last seen or had meals prepared by the same woman, and message intercepts reportedly tied Ana Paula to all the events. Investigators also say they discovered evidence suggesting attempts to manipulate crime scenes, and there were also messages designed to mislead, such as sending threatening texts in the name of a victim to create false narratives. It's a little bit like, look over there. This pattern prompted joint inquiries and exhumations to run further toxicology. It's so much like the Jolly Joseph case, it's not even true. In July 2025, Ana Paula was placed in preventative detention when investigators had compiled enough evidence. Her twin sister, Roberta Cristina Veloso Fernandes, as well as her school colleague, Michelle Paiva da Silva, were also detained on suspicion of their involvement in the crimes. The justice system then began processing the criminal cases. In October 2025, according to press reports, São Paulo's judicial authorities accepted a consolidated criminal complaint that links 4 deaths to Ana Paula. Reports indicate that the court accepted charges of multiple homicide counts, and the public prosecutor's office also described the pattern and motives. And on that note, let's talk about motive. What was Ana thinking? Well, the media names apparent motives ranging from financial gain to personal vendettas. For example, prosecutors allege that one murder was carried out in exchange for money, while other deaths are described as motivated by jealousy or a desire for revenge. But there's an element of manipulation too, almost like she enjoyed it. Ana Paula allegedly cultivated rapport with the victims, positioned herself as a confidant or a housemate, and then used food or a drink laced with toxic chemicals to poison that person. It's extremely disturbing to think that Ana Paula allegedly tested poisons on dogs to see how fast they would work and how much she needed to kill an adult person. Again, these are allegations currently part of the prosecution's file, and forensic findings are apparently being used in the investigation. What other evidence is there against Ana, Michelle, and Roberta? Well, news outlets have noted several kinds of evidence authorities say they have found. These include witness statements that place Ana Paula with victims prior to their becoming ill and dying, analysis of text messages that may suggest suspicious activity, CCTV and location data putting her at or near crime scenes, the recovery and lab analysis of banned pesticides or toxic compounds which could be linked to the victim's symptoms. And apparently, there are financial transfers which could be connected to motive. This could be the alleged payment from Michelle Paiva da Silva to Ana Paula in the Neil Correa case. Prosecutors really want to underline that Ana tried to mislead investigators by doing things like sending text messages in a victim's name, attempting to stage a crime scene as a natural death, and trying to implicate third parties like she did with Maria and her ex-boyfriend. Those alleged attempts to tamper with investigations don't look good for Ana. They suggest manipulation rather than random misfortune. So what happens now? As of the latest reports, the São Paulo Public Prosecutor's Office presented a complaint asking a judge to accept multiple charges. And those were accepted in October, which is when many of us found out about this case in the media. This means that Ana Paula is no longer a suspect, but officially a defendant in the case. She, Roberta, and Michelle remain in custody while the case is being prepared for trial. The main thing that needs to be brought to trial, though, is the toxicology, because many of these alleged poisonings initially appeared natural or undetermined. So in that case, forensic examiners must now produce evidence tying specific toxic agents to each victim. What toxic agents those might be are so far unknown. However, The Sun reported, quote, during a raid on her home, officers found tuberphos, a banned pesticide similar to rat poison. Whichever toxins were used, they must be identified in tissue from exhumed bodies and then matched to substances found in the suspect's possession. So if they died from rat poison and she had that exact same rat poison in her house, maybe there's a correlation. Then parallel timelines need to be established that prove ingestion, symptoms, and death alongside intent. If text messages, bank transfers, CCTV, and witness testimony can back up the toxicology, they can prove the crimes were orchestrated, rather than just being random tragedies. This case is shocking because it involves female perpetrated serial killings, allegedly, by poisoning and stabbing. We are always shocked to learn that a woman can be a serial killer, or any kind of killer. It's rare, but as we know, it can happen. What's less common is a group of women working in conjunction on multiple murders, and this is probably something that we'll learn as the case progresses. So what role, if any, did the alleged accomplices play? Was Ana Paula indeed the mastermind that orchestrated each crime? Police Chief Idiao has described her as a psychopath who was extremely manipulative. He also said, quote, Ana Paula takes pleasure in killing. Her motivation doesn't really matter. She wants to kill. Outkick.com, on the other hand, had this to say, quote, good looks, bad crimes. The internet is falling for an alleged Brazilian serial killer. Veloso Fernandes from São Paulo, Brazil, has some wondering if she's the world's hottest serial killer. So, contrary to what Outkick.com claim, what happens next is for Brazilian courts to decide, not the peoples of social media. The legal process dictates that evidence will be examined, lawyers will cross-examine experts, and judges or juries will determine the outcome. For now, investigators maintain that a serial pattern exists and that formal charges are justified. And that's all I have for now on this case. I have no doubt that a lot of new details will be coming out at trial, and if that happens, I will be sure to update you all. So until next time, everybody, I'll see you at sundown.